Hi, so this video is going to look at connotations and how connotations can, how you can use connotations to analyse your quotations more effectively. And by doing that, this will help you write more effective analysis sections in your P+ paragraphs. So, this is a quotation from a poem. It's a poem called Blessing by Imitators Darker. The poem is set in India, in a very poor part of India where people haven't got enough water, so they're desperate for water. And in this scene, the water pipe into the town has burst and all the water is spraying everywhere. So the quotation is, the municipal pipe bursts, silver crashes to the ground, and the flow has found a roar of tongues. The first thing to do is find the key words in your quotation. Look for the important words and look for any words that have more than one meaning. So I've picked out silver and roar. They're going to be my key words which I'm going to analyse in my analysis section. The way to think about it is to think about words like icebergs. Now, we all know that what you can see of an iceberg is only 10% of the iceberg. 90% of the iceberg is below the waterline. And it's very similar with words. Up here we have the surface meaning, what the word means at a superficial level, what the dictionary would define it as. And that only represents 10% of the meaning of that word. The other 90% is below that surface level are what we call connotations. Now, connotations are the ideas commonly associated with a word or phrase that go beyond its literal definition. What that means is the ideas that it suggests, the things that it hints, the things it doesn't say explicitly, but we pick up from that word. So to look at that as an example, we picked up the word silver from our quotation. Now, silver means a precious metal. If you looked up in a dictionary, that's what it tells you. Silver is a precious metal. I now want to think about the connotations of that word silver. So silver suggests wealth, it suggests precious, it suggests valuable, it suggests beautiful. Now, silver doesn't mean those four things, but it implies those things, it suggests those things. So when Imitators Darker describes the water as silver, she uses a metaphor, she describes water as silver, she's saying that water is all of these things. She doesn't say, because water is precious, but by describing water as silver, she suggests, and we pick up the idea that it's incredibly precious. And it's the same thing with roar. Roar, the dictionary definition, is a loud animal noise. The connotations of that word roar are animalistic, desperate, excited, maybe excitement, and savage. So if we look at the reaction of people to that water, the fact that they roar suggests they might be all of these things. And again, the poet doesn't have to say these things because we pick up those connotations from that word roar. Now, to put that into context in a P+ paragraph, here we have the point section and the evidence section from a P+ paragraph. I've put them in different colours so you can pick them out more easily. Here's our point. Imitators Darker uses powerful metaphors to show how important water is to the people in the poem. That's our point section. Here's our evidence, which is our quotation from the beginning. The municipal pipe bursts, silver crashes to the ground, and the flow has found a roar of tongues. And there are our key words, silver and roar. So, when you come to write your analysis section, you want to discuss the connotations of those key words. And words that will help you do that are words like implies, suggests, connotes, infers, shows, or demonstrates. And that's how you're going to show the examiner you're discussing those words at the level of connotations. So here's an example. By referring to the water as silver, Darker implies that it is precious, almost like water is a sign of wealth. So there, precious and wealth were two of the ideas we picked out in our connotations with our iceberg, and we discussed what that shows about how Darker is trying to present water in this poem. Now, that's one way to make sure your analysis section is really focused and really analytical, is you focus on key words from the quotation. You also want to try and have more than one idea. Your analysis section is where most of the marks are, so you want to have lots of ideas in your analysis section. So I've picked out more than one word. I've also want to look at roar. Also, the reaction of people shows how much water means to them. The word roar suggests an animalistic reaction, showing how desperate they are for water, how excited they are by it. So we've used the key words, key ideas of desperate, animalistic, excited, we picked out in our iceberg, our connotations iceberg, we've used them to analyse that word roar. So, to recap, first thing you do is analyse the key words in your quotation. Look for important words and words that have more than one meaning. Second thing you do, work out the connotations of those words. What ideas does it suggest, what ideas does it imply at a non-surface level meaning? Thirdly, use those connotations to write your analysis section, using words like suggests and implies, infers, demonstrates, etc. And that will make sure your analysis section is really analytical and really focused on language. So that's how to do it. Now it's your turn. This is the next line from the same poem. So the water's spilling everywhere, and the poet says, from the huts a congregation, every man, woman, child for streets around. So everyone's rushing to the scene of the water. And the word I want to look at is this word congregation. Now a congregation is a group of people who have come together for religious worship. So people in a church, people in a mosque, people in a temple, whatever. They are a congregation, a group of people who've come together to worship. So we need to think about the fact that Darker describes the group of people as a congregation, what she's trying to suggest and imply by that. So the first thing you do is work out the connotations of the word congregation. We said at a surface level meaning, it means religious worship. What are the connotations of that word? When you've done that, when you've worked out the connotations of congregation, I will use that to write the analysis section of a P+ paragraph. So I've used the same point section. Immaterial Darker uses powerful metaphors to show how important water is to the people in the poem. I've then put in your quotation, from the huts a congregation, every man, woman, child for streets around. And here's the beginning sentence starter for your analysis section. The use of the word congregation, because that's the key word we're picking out, and you can say implies, suggests, connotes, infers, shows or demonstrates, and whatever ideas you picked out here in your connotations iceberg, I'll use those ideas, those connotations, to finish this P+ paragraph.